So in this video we will learn how to install the Reach Classic Recumbent bike. These are all the parts that will be required for the installation. Here are the flat-headed bolts that we will use to attach the rear stabilizer to the main frame. Keep in mind to keep the flat heads of the screws towards the ground. Now putting washers on the screws followed by nuts to attach the stabilizer to the main frame. We will tighten it properly using our Allen key bolt. Now attaching the front stabilizer to the main frame in the same way, keeping the flat side of the bolts towards the ground. Now moving on to installing the handlebar. First, we will connect the mid wire and the computer wires. Now we'll carefully tuck the wires into the main frame and we'll push the tension control wire upwards just as shown in the video. Still pushing it upwards, and then we'll take it out of the slot provided at the top of the handlebar as shown by the technician in the video. Once the tension control wire is out from the top, the handlebar can be shoved into the mainframe. Now aligning the slots of the mainframe and the handlebar and screwing them in place. Washers followed by screws. Now we'll use our hexagon spanner to tighten them. Now this is a tension control knob. We will be attaching the tension control knob to the resistance wire that we took out from the top of the handlebar in the following way as shown in the video. This process is very important. You can rewind this video and see this process again, as this is very important for the cycle to operate properly. Now simply shoving the resistance wire downwards in the handlebar and putting the resistance knob in its place. We will now attach the cushion frame and the cushion seats. Mounting the cushion frame on top of the main frame, aligning the screw slots on top of each other. Putting the screws in, washers first. Tightening them with our hexagon spanner. Now, inserting the brake handle into the hole of the eccentric shaft. Using these screws, you will set the brake handle in place, just as shown in the video. Now tightening them with our hexagon spanner. Okay, so attaching the seat cushion now, using 4 screws to hold it in place. We will attach the backrest cushion now, using the long bolts to hold it in place. Now using our hexagon spanner to tighten it properly. This is how it should look like. Now attaching the pulse grip handles. Okay, so putting the flat-headed bolts in and keeping the flat-headed bolts towards us. Now attaching it to the main frame. And just putting washers in, followed by the nuts and screwing them properly. Now, attaching the auxiliary of the mainframe to the auxiliary of the pulse grip handles. We will now move on to install the pedals to the mainframe. Starting with the right pedal, please note that the right pedal is tightened by rotating it clockwise, while the left pedal is tightened by rotating it anti-clockwise. Using our Allen keyboard to tighten it. Now attaching a strap to it. Now moving on to attaching the monitor to the mainframe. Firstly, unscrewing the monitor. Now attaching the wires to the monitor from the mainframe as shown in the video. Now, shoving the wires into the mainframe and mounting the monitor on top of the bike. Finally, screwing back the screws that we took off from the monitor back onto it. We'll tighten it with our Allen keyboard. This is how the bike should look like after completing the installation.